There are those in this world who dedicate their entire lives to scientific discovery. But what is worth sacrificing in the pursuit of some breakthrough or great technological advancement? Your health? Your body? Your humanity? WX-78, before inhabiting his cold, brass-laden, mechanically driven form, was a scientist and partner to Robert Wagstaff in the early days of his career. They were attempting to integrate machinery and clockwork into a free-thinking and empathetic being, culminating in the production of a fully synthetic automaton that could be populated with a human consciousness. And thus, WX-78 was born as the scientist elected to be the first to try it out. It worked for a time, but the stress and dysphoria only grew in intensity as WX-78 rejected his humanity. They had a falling out. Wagstaff destroyed all the evidence of their research and discarded WX-78 into the constant, just like all the rest of his failed inventions. With 125 health, 125 hunger, and 150 sanity, his robotic body was built with a modular design. Accompanied by his bioscanalizer, Jimmy, he's able to craft a variety of chips that can be integrated into his circuits, offering massive potential and customizability, augmenting his stats or granting him new abilities. My name is LimeLichen. Resolder those joints and optimize your programming as I tell you about how it feels to play WX-78. Despite being mainly comprised of inorganic matter, WX-78 still must eat, heal, and stay sane just like the rest of his carbon-based compatriots. It's in his methods of maintenance that we start to see the virtues of a robotic body. Lacking a taste sensor, I presume, WX-78 can imbibe stale and spoiled foods while taking in their full nutritional value. After all,
stale food is just as good.
Likewise, he can also eat gears, restoring a hefty 50 health, 75 hunger, and 60 sanity. I don't know what it is with this game and cannibalism, but it's starting to become a pattern. Electricity is no longer an environmental hazard. When struck by lightning, you're healed by 100 at the cost of 33 sanity. You'll also get recharged by 1 on your energy meter, which sits on the right-hand side of the screen. The same also happens if you siphon from a lightning rod or drink Vault Goat milk. What doesn't play very well with an all-metal construction is, of course, water, which usually accompanies lightning. When WX-78 starts getting wet, you can see a wire over his wetness meter. When you get above this threshold, which is 15% saturation, you'll take damage proportional to your wetness and start losing charges every minute or so. You'll also start to discharge when starving or freezing. Those charges on that meter, which I have yet to explain, are the backbone of WX-78's gameplay loop. You can craft 15 different circuits and slot them in for various effects. Each one of them needs an exclusive WX-78 resource, biodata, obtained by scanning a library of some 28 different mobs. Each circuit takes up bandwidth on your energy meter, and when you're tired of a particular build or want to upgrade circuits, you'll also lose charges equivalent to the bandwidth when ripping them out, and will have to wait till the bar recharges for the next ones to take effect. You'll also lose a quarter of your circuit's durability. Half of these are base stat modifiers, and others give WX-78 new features like he's installed a new graphics or network card. I'll start with the stat augments because, in my opinion, they affect WX-78's gameplay the most. Without them, he is among the weakest in terms of base health, hunger, and sanity. You don't need to augment all 3 of his stats, but I still recommend running at least one of them to make the game a little bit easier. Plus, you can stack them as much as you'd like if you feel like min-maxing it. You sick bastard. I see you with those 3 super gastro gain circuits. What the fuck do you need all that hunger for anyways? Are you protesting British occupation? First, we got the health upgrades, the hardy and super hardy circuits. The first one is simple enough to craft. You just need to scan your run-of-the-mill spider and it'll give you a modest 50 max HP boost taking up 1 slot. And of course, it stacks. Super hardy though, requires scanning a nurse spider, and you can tell this is going to be a recurring issue with obtaining some of these schematics. Nurse spiders, being particularly uncommon, forced me to fight spider queens left and right until they so graciously blessed me with the spider type I actually wanted. Next thing you know, I'm getting jumped on all sides while trying to stay next to Jimmy. Yeah, you gotta stay next to Jimmy while he's scanning specimens, otherwise you'll have to start all over again. Oh my god, please! Jimmy, just give me the fucking biodata! Dear lord, can you be any slower? I kid you the fuck not. I was killed like twice because the queen took her sweet ass time squirting the nurses out while my fucking propeller potato refused to scan the monster before it got too close and broke my armor! Once it was all over, I got a much better 150 max HP boost for 2 slots. I would recommend always keeping these slotted in, mostly because I suck at combat and end up just trading damage until whatever I'm swinging at stops breathing. For hunger, you have the gastrogain circuits. The regular one requires scanning a hound. Seems easy enough, just keep running around in circles like the neighborhood cat. That one gives you 40 extra hunger points for 1 chip slot. The super gastrogain circuit asks you to scan either a slurper from the ruins or Bearger if you happen to fight him. This one offers 100 extra hunger points and slows down the drain rate by 20%. I really felt the impact when I put on the gastrogains, and especially the super. The ability to not eat for extended periods of time is perfect for a game where the clock never stops ticking. I can spend less time preparing and packing food and more time exploring or farming or harvesting materials. For sanity, there's the processing circuits. You can get the regular variant by scanning a butterfly, a nice change of pace from all the hostile specimens. It grants you 50 extra sanity. The super processing circuit is better still. After scanning a shadow creature, will grant you 100 extra sanity points. Not the most necessary upgrade, since 150 sanity is enough for most applications unless you really hate shadow creatures and want them to spawn as little as possible. I never found them to be a problem though. If you pack a lot of green shrooms, you shouldn't be having any bouts of psychosis. Plus, you'd probably want tons of them to spawn anyways for their nightmare fuel, and because they're the most common mob that drops the most biodata when scanned. There's another sanity upgrade called the Bean Booster Circuit. Crafted with royal jelly after scanning the Bee Queen herself, it not only increases your max sanity, but also restores 10 health a minute and gives you a passive sanity aura. It takes up half your chip slots, so the marginal improvements might not be worth it in the end. There are better 3-slot upgrade options. The next circuits provide different abilities to WX-78, the first of which are night vision and luminescence. The optoelectronic circuit allows WX-78 to use night vision like what is provided by the Moggles. After scanning a mole, you'll get complete and automatic night vision for 4 chip slots, and of course, it will never run out and triggers when you're in dark areas. It's great if you hate crafting lanterns or torches, but the default night vision filter in this game is repugnant. The illumination circuit makes a small light radius around you after you scan a light fly or a depth swarm. Not as powerful as night vision, but cheaper to install, and less taxing on the eyes. In regards to circuit bandwidth, for some reason about half of these upgrades cost an odd number of pins despite you only having 6 slots. I take issue with this because the benefits of the 3-slot upgrades did not justify missing out on more stat enhancements. Like, I could only fit all 3 of the lower end stat boosts, or only one bigger one. Perhaps that's exactly what Clay was going for, because if WX-78 had all his stats augmented and could see in the dark, it might be too powerful. But since when has Clay given a shit about things being too powerful? Look at what they did to Willow's rework in granting her a bunch of OP spells. It seems to me that there's a double standard going on here. Either cut out the stat enhancers and go back to gobbling gears, or give us an option to gain more expansion slots. Consider this a future update wishlist. A CPU runs at its best when it's kept cool and under normal operating temperatures. The refrigeration circuit is more than just a temperature modifier. Scanning a blue hound will let you lower your body temperature by 20 degrees, stopping any chance of overheating, and turn your body into a portable ice box, with a 25% reduction in food spoilage and the ability to produce ice when wet. And for when components like rubbers or oils are in danger of freezing under cold temperatures, the thermal circuit does the opposite of the refrigeration circuit. Scanning a red hound lets you keep your temperature above freezing and dry off faster. Being the opposite of an icebox, food in your inventory will spoil 25% faster. Speaking of faster, the acceleration circuits lets you zip around the map unaided by walking sticks, magiluminescence, and beefalo that those pathetic fleshlings need to match your speed. The acceleration circuit asks for rabbit biodata as well as biomass. Don't ask me how that process works. It takes up all upgrade slots in exchange for giving you a 25% speed boost. The super acceleration circuit lets you go even faster. Scanning a clockwork rook allows you to dial in that speed bonus. One circuit gives you 25% more movement speed, another will increase it by 10, and another again will increase it by 15, for a total of 50% increase in running speed. It's a necessity for certain boss fights, and reducing commute times in large worlds. The last 2 circuits I couldn't organize, so I'm just gonna put them at the end. The chorus box circuit turns WX-78 into an MP3 player with only 1 song downloaded. I guess Wagstaff was frugal about his iTunes budget. Scanning the Crab King has ragtime on a constant loop in the background, giving WX-78 a 5 sanity a minute aura while increasing plant happiness. It's great if you didn't want to craft a gramophone or one-man band, and for annoying the hell out of the Prince of Darkness, but you can just as easily obtain a Lord of the Fruit Flies and never have to craft the circuit anyways. I don't know, maybe there's people out there who are really stuck in the decision between bringing their flashlight or their iPod with 50,000 hours of the Undertale soundtrack preloaded to the camping trip. The final circuit is the electrification circuit. Scanning a Vault Goat imbues WX-78's chassis with a shocking protective layer that damages enemies when they attack him. To my knowledge, it doesn't stack, and it's nice to have a Thorn's armor effect, but I have an issue with it requiring you to be hit for it to be effective. If you're good at kiting, not like me, you'll hardly ever find a use for it unless you're purposefully tanking a wet mob. I'm not judging, you subject your body to as much punishment as you want. WX-78 is a heartless, emotionless being. Who would have ever thought he'd care about keeping the other survivors alive? That relationship might be less platonic and more in the interest of self-preservation, though. Most of his circuits and upsides help him and not his partners, but there are a few that do. The thermal circuits can also cool and heat up the other survivors, and the illumination circuit can keep the darkness at bay for anyone around. The chorus box circuit entertains listeners and restores their sanity by 5 per minute. Many survivors help him more than he can help them. Wily can make his fish cordon bleu and negate his whole water-based downside, and Wicker Bottom can charge his circuits and health to full with The End Is Nigh. Winona's generators are also a source of power that WX-78 can tap into should the need arise. Man, he's really just an energy sink, isn't he? Is he particularly well suited for team play? No, not at all. Does he occasionally come in clutch for dire situations? Yes. He's more like Wilson than I'd like, to be honest. Playing him wasn't quite dull, but something of a neat experiment with modularity and an exercise in player creativity. That's literally what WX-78 is, an experiment. An experiment that I invite all watching to conduct to gauge just how it feels to play WX-78. Thank you all so much for watching. If you've been reading my posts, you must have heard that I got partnered on YouTube and memberships are now live. If you want to watch my videos earlier, read my script drafts, play with me, or just support me and my video making endeavors, become Extra Sour today. There's only one tier for membership, as that's all I had planned, but maybe sometime in the future I'll add tiers and more benefits. Vote for the next How It Feels video on the community tab, and I'll see you there. Stay sour.